What's happening? I'm Bernardo, and this is the Gerber Suspension. So it's actually one of Gerber's tools that I actually like more. Gerber has been letting me down these past couple years, but it does have a few issues. Tool selection, some things like that. Really like the finish off the bat, I'll tell you that. But why don't we go ahead and do a quick run through the tool selection, and then I will give you my thoughts, who I think it's for, and that kind of thing. So we'll start off with the straight blade. Has a straight blade here, has a flathead screwdriver, a Phillips, and a saw. So I'll get deeper into them a little bit more too, let you know what I think of them. But that's on that side. On this other side, we have scissors, little guys. We have a lanyard hole. We also have a mini or pocket screwdriver, and then we have a combination tool, so can opener, bottle opener, and then we have a serrated blade. No micro tools on this multi-tool, and then also the pliers and wire cutters. So let's get into the kind of like the good of this tool. So you know, if you've been shopping Gerber, you probably maybe gotten some of their multi-tools. I've had a few of them in the past. I haven't been too impressed with the finish, especially. I actually gave my father-in-law, who's actually a foreign guy from Eastern Europe, I gave him a Gerber, kind of like a military grade. I don't remember which one I gave him, but it was a military grade one. It was a, you know, it was a good price or whatever. But then when I got it, when he actually got it and we opened it up, I noticed that the finish on it was really terrible. The scales were, you know, kind of roughed up. It just seemed like it hadn't really had a really good QC. It's actually, and it was more expensive than this one. I think this one, the last time I checked, it's around the $30 mark, which I think is a fairly good value. However, it is a little bit trying to be a lot of different things and not kind of focusing on one. So we'll kind of get into that. I do like, you know, the single-handed knife access there. You'll notice that there's actually a few different tools that you can do that with, or actually just two others. So I think it's just the serrated. However, the knife is so smooth that you could, you know, functionally operate stuff. So like, here's the saw. Let me show you. You can pull. Oops, sorry. I'm better with the left hand, but you see what I'm saying. You can kind of pull that out. What's cool about this tool as well is that every single tool locks. So, and this tool's been around for quite some time. Every single tool locks. Really nice. The blade, you know, nothing to cry home about. You know, just nice utility type blade right there. Same thing with kind of like the other blades. You know, nice kind of utility serrated blade there as well. But the blade that it really falls short on, I believe, is the saw. So as you can see, I have used the saw quite a bit, this is actually what this is. This is my kitchen drawer multi-tool. So I leave it in the kitchen drawer. I have a few fish tanks and I have a lot of planted aquariums and that have wood and stuff. So that's where you're kind of seeing that. I cut up some wood for an aquarium, and that's kind of got there. However, this blade's really tiny. So unless you're cutting something really small or maybe just a slit into something, this blade is actually kind of tricky to use compared to something like a you know, Victorinox Huntsman or something like that. It's not a bad blade. It's okay. It's not as good quality as say a Leatherman or Victorinox, but it's actually very very sharp. You know, does the job. However, it's not very workable, as you can see. It's about, I'd say, maybe 2 inches, maybe 1 3/4 inches max. However, what's nice about it for what it is that it does lock. So that is definitely a perk of it. Getting into some of the other tools, that I kind of really don't care for too much. This Phillips is complete garbage, essentially. Yes, you can tighten a few things with it. I think it's a number 2 or supposed to be a number 2, but as you can see, it's very flat. But if you have Phillips that has to have some bite to get it knocked off or to break it off, this is not very good. This is not very good. If you have a precision Phillips that you need to try to get to for whatever reason, still not very good either. Then we have the The flathead, nothing to rave home about, works pretty well. You can use this as a little chisel. I've done that as well. So this is actually not bad. You know, Phillips screwdriver. So not bad there on that one. And then the other side. So scissors. Scissors, they got these little mini scissors on here, which, to be honest, aren't quite bad. Aren't terrible. It's a little goofy, you know, so you can't really fit tons of big stuff in there necessarily. But it's not bad, you know. I'd say it's very comparable to something that you'd see on like the Leatherman Wave, in my opinion. But it's not bad at all. It's got a nice little kind of bar spring action there, so kind of heavy duty there. It looks goofy, but it does cut. It does cut, and it's lockable as well, which is nice. The lanyard hole, not too much to talk about there, but you know, lanyard, if you'd like to add a lanyard to it, I think that's kind of a cop off on the tool list there, but they do include that as one of the tools. The little screwdriver, and then there is the kind of little flathead, which is nice as well. And then the combo tool. So the combo tool is really interesting. I do like it when manufacturers do stuff like this because it kind of, you know, multiplies the amount of tools you have, kind of a two-in-one kind of solution here. I think this is kind of a neat idea to, you know, especially have these kind of two tools that people don't really frequently use in the modern age. But this part right here is actually the can opener to bust over cans, and then this little leverage here is to pop open your bottles. You can kind of use this as well to open the bottles. I've used them both. About the can opener. So the can opener is great. It's okay, I should say. It's no Victorinox, it's no Leatherman or anything. But if you notice, it's not really sharp or anything. It's kind of dull. So I think the first couple times I used it, it worked okay. But after a while, it is starting to get a little bit dull. I'm not sure if it's dull because it's been dull since I got it, but it just doesn't cut as nicely as it once did. So that's something to keep in mind. Some other nice perks too, I don't know if you've noticed this, but it does, what's kind of nice about this knife is that it does have some labelings. So right here you'll see a labeling for a knife, another knife. If you look here very closely, you'll see that this knife image here actually has some little jigsaws for the saw. And then the other side is just blank, and it has the thumb release. Or I'm sorry, it's actually, this is serrated, and that's kind of one of the points I was going to mention. It's actually a very nice thing to have those there, right? Like, it's kind of nice to be able to, especially on the other side, because the scissors are very permanent. So when you're looking for scissors, you know exactly, oh, okay, here it is. It's over here on this side. Same thing with the blades. However, the blade images are so small that it's hard, right? Like, if you're looking for a serrated blade, unless you have really good eyesight to be able to see the little markings there, it's really hard to see, especially in like day sunlight or something like that. However, how I kind of look before I actually pull the knife is I'll actually look through the skeleton scale there and kind of make sure I'm like, okay, I don't have a blade with the teeth, if that's not what I'm looking for. Typically, obviously, for utility, I usually just go for this guy, open up boxes, that kind of thing. What else do I want to tell you about this? The finish. So yeah, the finish is really nice. In the plier, it's actually very comfortable. It's the suspension kind of pair of pliers there, which is kind of unique. Not very many multi-tools have that option, but it's kind of cool that Gerber put that. I think Gerber has that on. I think they have two models. They have the suspension and they have the suspension NXT, I believe. I'm not too sure about the differences there, but I do know that they do have those two models. So yeah, so that's really nice. Pliers, you know, pretty good. Nothing crazy to rave home about. So what do I think? I mean, is this my go-to? It's not. It's not what I typically go to. Like I kind of mentioned, this is the one that was actually given to me by a friend many years ago, and then it just, you know, I've taken it camping a couple times, you know, kind of saw the downfalls of it and stuff, and then kind of didn't really, it's a little too heavy to like kind of carry all the time, so I think I left it in the car for a while, and now it's in the kitchen cabinet. What I think this was a well thought out multi-tool that Gerber produced. I think they, you know, had some really clever and nice ideas. However, I think the tool selection's a little, I don't know, it's not focused enough in either direction. You know, like the different blades, right? And the saw blade. This saw blade not really being usable kind of defeats its point. Like, I'd almost rather have like a file here for that or something here now, because you could definitely file some stuff with a blade with a file that size. But a saw, it's very limited in what you can do. I do like the serrated, the two blades, so I think those would be kind of cool to have, but I think the saw is really lacking here and it's not necessarily needed. The other thing is too, is that the multi can opener, bottle opener. Well, I mentioned, I do like how it's a combination. It's kind of redundant because, like I mentioned, this can opener can actually. The other thing is too, nowadays it's like how many people are really using bottle openers. So I kind of feel I kind of grabbed the most popular tool and threw them in. So I think changing this up into something else, you know, maybe what I would do is maybe get rid of the Phillips and turn the Phillips and do something like Leatherman did. Put a nicer Phillips on there with a bottle opener kind of thing or something if you're trying to do a combination thing. And maybe just get rid of the can opener because at the end we're not really using it that much. So what Bible or whatever with that. Even gardening, it's not that great. Even the little aquascaping I did, not very good for that either. This Phillips, I've tried to use it a bunch of times. It's terrible. Doesn't grab on anything, especially if it's tight. It just doesn't do anything. Flathead, you know, it's a flathead. You know, most tool manufacturers really can't mess up that part there. The nice features, it locks. That's really nice. You know, it is a nice hand. The other thing I wanted to mention is, with it closed, while the pliers are really nice, you know, it has a really nice formed handle here, really works well. The tools on the outside, the handle becomes a little goofy, and you know, if you're really trying to put down, it kind of comes up and rides up on you. It's a little awkward to hold at times. You know, the blade kind of, you know, it opens up your hand as opposed to kind of closing it. I don't know, it's just a little weird, but it, you know, like I said, it still works. It's not bad, but it is a little goofy. So there's that. But like I said, you know, a little tool to keep in the dust drawer, it's okay. I think Gerber, if they could maybe go back to the drawing board, maybe rethink some of the tool setups that they have here, get rid of that saw, maybe put in a file, maybe get rid of the can opener situation and put a better Phillips combination of sorts in there. I think that might be might make this tool a better tool in general. Well, guys, that is my thoughts on the Gerber suspension. If you like my video, please hit me up with a like, and if you'd like to see more, hit the subscribe. I will catch you in the next one.